Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Antics Garage, powered by HP Performance. Today, we are working on 2001 C5 that you saw in a previous video. Supercharged LS1 in this car. Real good-looking vehicle, but needs a lot of work because we did have a slight issue with it, and I'll show you the reason why we're taking it apart here. And you can kind of tell a little bit if you see that right there. It was on fire. So you look way up in there, real dark, kind of hard to see, but looks like one of the lines on the clutch went out, caught the header, and it took the harness with it. And so basically we need to assess what kind of damage we've got going on here so we can tell the insurance adjuster, you know, what it's gonna need. And yeah, but the thing is, on these C5s, in order to get back all the way to the harness, a whole lot of stuff's gotta come off. I've never worked on a Corvette in my life, but that's why, fortunately, we got our expert Corvette Bill here.
What's happening, guys? It's Corvette Bill, Corvette Corner, however you want to call it.
So,
well, yeah. Here's the fun of what we got. You know, a lot of you guys at home have never seen under a Corvette. In order to do anything at the back of the motor, like with the issue that we had up front, it's not like a normal car like you just saw us with the 71 El Camino, where we can drop the trans and the drive shaft and get access to stuff at the back of the motor. Unfortunately, on these cars, they're built from the rear forward, so if you have to do any work forward, you have to take the back section out. So this K-frame that you see up here, as they call it, this rear subframe, the exhaust, all this exhaust has got to come down, the differentials at the back, the trans is right here, we got to take the torque tube down, then we can actually get access to the throwout bearing in the clutch, and the hose to the throwout bearing is where our issue was. Unfortunately, building hot rods, it's fun. Stuff gets hot, it gets abused. The car's a 23-year-old car, so, you know, stuff starts to fail over time, and that's exactly what happened to this. Age just got a hold of it, you know, seals dry out and stuff like that, and it create leaks. So it's going to be a fun little process. You guys, some of the people at home will be like, oh, there's no way I'm touching that. Actually, they're not that bad to work on. They're actually pretty fun. Once you work on them and you do it enough, like I have, been doing it for a long time, it's just nuts and bolts. I just wanted to give you guys a little closer view of what we're playing with. Right here, you've got the left side muffler, the right side muffler, and then just above that is the differential. And you can see the other part of it right here. And that has to come down in order to start moving forward. But in order to do that, you actually have to take this rear subframe down. It goes underneath here and it rolls a little bit more up towards the front. You got a bolt up here, get a bolt back here, obviously both sides. The rear suspension actually has to stay attached to this K-member when it comes down. Obviously, we got to take the wheels off. And it's actually pretty fun. So you got the differential right here. And then you've got this long section right here is actually the transmission that's connected to the torque tube. So once we get the exhaust down, we have to get this rear K-member down. Then we can actually take this trans and differential down. And I'm going to try to get a close up here. See this little hump right here? That's the torque tube. And that is actually the power transfer from the motor back to the trans. In order to get all this down, you have to take the torque tube down. You can kind of see there's a cover plate right there. And as I'm walking towards the front here, this section right here is if you got to just change the clutch, you can move everything back and it'll give you access. Well, unfortunately, because of us having long tube headers on here in race application, we actually have to take everything from the back of the car all the way up to the motor. Then we have to take the headers off in order to be able to get this bell housing case down in order to get to the throw-out bearing. It's actually hydraulic. Then here, that's the bottom of the oil pan. It's actually a two-phase oil pan that's on these cars. So once you take this pan down, this is the lower section. So if you had like debris or wanted to change, you know, the gasket or whatever, you can do that. But there's a lower and an upper. A lot of these newer cars have lower and upper oil pans. And then if you move forward, zoom out here a little bit so you can see it. This big aluminum frame that you see, that's actually the front that's the front subframe or K member that as they call it. And depending on how it goes with us getting access to that wiring harness, also depends on how things actually turn out. So we're going to keep you informed on what's going on, but that pretty much gives you an idea what the underside of a Corvette looks like and what all you have to go through in order to do maintenance. So if you own a Corvette and you're like, man, I got to do the clutch. Yeah, it's a little bit of work. Working on them as much as I have, they're actually really fun. I don't mind doing them. Fire extinguisher crap all over my hands.
Whoa! Hold that up for the camera.
Got it out finally.
after watching all this, you might be asking yourself, why the hell did they have to do all that? And that is why. You can see that harness is totally destroyed from the fire. And you know, to get to all this, to replace it, you've got to be at the back of the block. And just the way that you got to do it on these, you just got to pull everything out. You know, so if you're wondering what a C5 looks like, torn apart, and kind of how they go together, it's actually really neat how they're put together. You know, unlike pretty much any other American car, at least. But yeah, that's why we had to do all that, so that we could take a look at this. The insurance adjuster can see what all we're gonna have to do to get this car back on the road. The other trouble is we can't even find a harness right now for a manual car. Plenty for automatics, but not a lot for manuals. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, that is why. You can see, and we've got to take a look. We've got to get all this out here because we've got to see the extent of the damage. You know, because you can see way up there, that harness way up there is charred as well, right where my tip of my finger is. You know, so we've got to see what else was damaged and what else needs to be replaced. That's going to do it for us tonight, though. It's pretty late. Got to get some rest. Bill's going on vacation next week, so he's going to have a great time. I hope so, at least. Any comments today tonight, Bill?
Well, we forgot one minor detail. I forgot to disconnect the shifter up top. So, and it is 1:03 in the morning. Yeah, you know, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on vacation next week. Well, I'll be here Monday. Jack will be at work.
Yeah, so he'll try to film the rest. I won't be here, but he'll try to film the rest of getting this stuff out, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, I'll film getting the shifter out of it. You know, just keeping you guys informed and showing you what's going on. And like I said, once again, you guys are sitting in the comfort of your own home, sitting on the couch, going, "Oh my God, that's crazy." But like I said before, it all depends on, you know, you've worked on these things enough. You realize how that they're manufactured, how they're put together. So once you understand how they're put together, you know how to take them apart and do it easily. And it's not really a big pain in the butt, but a lot of people shy away from it. And that's fine. That's why we're here at HB Performance. You know, we work on Corvettes and we love this stuff. Now that we got the shifter up, got most of our room that we need, there's 3 bolts. One to the shifter rod, and then there's 2 in here that are for the shifter to mount to the torque tube. Those have to come off, get unloosened. There's 1, there's 2. Third one's kind of funky. It's up here in front. And then this is what it looks like. Lift it up and out of the hole. Slide it out of the thing. And there's your shifter for a Corvette. That very simple, very easy put together. But it was the one step we forgot when we were taking the trans out. transmission, your shifter linkage. That's the shifter linkage we had to take off. You can see where it bolts up. Had to take the 2 bolts out of that. The shifter rod goes on the end of it. That connects into that shifter setup. And then there's the end of the torque tube. And I had to do all of that because that throwout bearing right there is no good. It's a hydraulic throwout bearing. So that whole torque tube trans, we already took the differential off the other night. And now we're going to be changing this entire harness. All this wiring harness and everything that you see here, all this goes into this sleeve. This all goes up into the back of the motor. One half goes up one side, the other half goes up the other. And we have to take this bell housing case off, up and around here, and take this bottom section off here. So this has got to come off, this bell housing case has got to come off. And then we can get to the clutch, get to the wiring harness at the back of the motor. And then we're gonna take the subframe bolts down, that bolt there. Gotta drop the sway bar to get access to that one. Same on the other side. Drop that K-member bolt there. Drop that K-member bolt. And the reason why we have to do that is because we need a little bit more room to get to that wiring harness. And we will walk you through changing all that.